cities is just dangerous places, eh? So I can't imagine raising a kid in the city. I just couldn't picture it at all. Couldn't happen. Country, that's a life. That's a real life. Eh? Kids they got animals, lots of animals around them, horses, cows, and pigs, and dogs, and cats, and lots. They can see real life. Eh? You can grow things, and they get to experience the real gist of life. Eh? That's living. My opinion only, of course. So I always tell people, you got an existence in the city, but in the country, you got a life. You know.
Yes,
You
yes.
city people don't
No,
really know.
we don't really know.
This is it.
This is the incubator?
This is a huge one. Let's see if we can get it open here.
Here, I'm just gonna turn some lights on.
Yeah. There we go. Somebody's been working on things here. Working on a rifle, and they got all these tools. I don't know if you can see in there, but up there's a fan,
Uh-huh.
and there's light bulbs.
Okay.
And so the light turns on, the fan comes on, and it blows air down, and it goes all through this system. You can't see it, but underneath that thing, there's a tunnel where the air goes back up to the top again. Okay? Now, all this stuff up here is automatic humidity, and automatic temperature controls. So I did my own designing here and added it's a small humidifier, smaller than these, and they got a pipe that goes in here, and so you can set the humidity to whatever you require, because harvest doing eggs requires high humidity at first. Then you got to turn it down for the last. So you need really good control. Eh? So that's a pretty good system. Oh, I got to sit. Oh man. There's an Indian lad here named Bruce Boucher.
Bruce Boucher.
Yeah. Now his two older brothers I chummed with. The oldest one I really like, Ken was his name. He lived out at the station down by the tracks in Anglia. The other brother ran the bar. He was a criminal, loudmouth criminal. First day I met him, I challenged that son of a bitch. You know, because he was loudmouth and big, he'd intimidate people because he ran the bar. So he come over, I was sitting with Rick Jackson, and he come over to intimidate me on day one. I stood up and I said, "You son of a bitch want to go with me? Let's go." And I walked right towards him, and it scared the shit out of him. He'd never try you, ever. What he did do, him and his brother took me down to Elrose and set me up in a fight to see if I had any skills. Eh? then they never touched me after that. But anyway, this young guy here, Bruce, he got rejected out of the family more or less, and he used to hang around with Rick and I. So one night, we were drinking in the bar. The bar closed, and I must have had a girlfriend that I was chasing. And Bruce asked if he could come with me. I said, oh no, I got this girl I'm chasing. So he went and asked a few others. Nobody wanted Bruce with him. He was so hurt he went down Main Street and broke some windows. They gave him 1.5 years in prison. He came out of prison. His brothers had moved to Alberta by that time, and he went to visit Cal, the guy that used to run the bar, the asshole, took a 12-gauge shotgun, blew his head off. Killed himself. I feel bad because if I hadn't rejected him that night. And who gets 1.5 years for breaking a window, you know? Indians do. Ricky Kilford, here's a guy. I used to work for him. He had a Rick's Roofing in Rosetown. We were all drunks. And I quit drinking. I was 30. And he made it another 12 years. At 42, he died. And I had 3 of my drinking buddies all died in their early 40s from booze. We were at a rodeo down at Kyle, and this bull took a charge at the fence. And here's Steve turning in panic, and there's Mike laughing. They're so opposite, those two guys. There's the guy Steve's named after. Stephen Paul Gillette, his name was. He was my best friend in the Army. I was looking at this picture of the barracks here. The floor's got quite a shine to it, eh? And how we'd get it that way is we'd have to take all the cots out, and we scrape the floor with a razor blade by hand, the whole floor. Then we'd wax it, then we'd polish it with toothbrushes.
Literally.
Literally. So you can imagine the joy, eh? Oh, big time. Because me and the Army crossed swords immediately, and it just stayed that way. You know, I got myself in a pail of trouble. Probably, well, the war was on, Vietnam War, and I didn't know that the Gulf of Tonkin was a lie. I thought it was real. I thought that, you know, the North really did attack our boats in the Gulf of Tonkin. Well, they didn't. It was a lie to get us into the war. But then when Tet happened, the Tet Offensive, I don't know if you know about that, but that was in '68. When the North Vietnamese hit every base and every town all at the same time. On New Year's, called the Tet Offensive. And then I knew they were in trouble because the North had that much ability. So I better join up, get over there, and once I get over there, we'll get this mess straightened right out, eh? I'll go over and teach that little yellow man a thing or two, eh? Well, I found out that from the 82nd Airborne guys, American 82nd Airborne, he said, we thought we were the toughest guys in the country. Toughest kid on the block. We'll take out anybody. He said, we go over to Vietnam, and here's a little yellow man, half our size, more than willing and able to kick our asses. We didn't know what tough was. We only thought we knew. Yeah. So anyway, I finished basic training in Nova Scotia, and then went to Ontario for infantry training. And I had one more set to go. I was military police is what I was. Eh? And before my police training started, Trudeau came out and said that Canadian troops aren't going to Vietnam. Well, you know, that finished me. So I put my release in and got the hell out.
So when you said the troops weren't going into Vietnam, how'd that make you feel?
Terrible. I mean, I'm here to go over there and kick some ass, you know. You chicken shit son of a bitch. I thought. Well, they counted my time from the time I had basic training, but I counted a year before that. So according to them, about 6 months. But I joined in the spring of '68, and first they sent me to Saskatoon, 4 days there, and then they sent me to what they call PSU Winnipeg, Personnel Selection Unit, another military base. You go and spend a week there while they run you through batteries of tests, and then they send you here and they send you there. Well, they don't count any of that time. So about a year and a half. You know, in the Army, and when they give you a picture of what your kit's supposed to look like, the Army had a picture of an electric razor in the top drawer, sitting so many inches. Everything had to be measured. You know, each thing you fold in your pajamas had to be 9 by 18, and you got to have the gap of, and it better be perfect. You know. So what I did with pajamas, because I don't wear them, is I bought a can of spray starch, sprayed the living shit out, made them hard, like, you know. And then all I did was have to blow the dust off them every now and again. You know?
The same ones every day?
Yeah. And one guy used to take all of his Army shirts and he'd spray this much of it, because you hang them in the closet with your uniform over top of them, and all you see is that much of it. So we'd spray it. I got so fed up one time, this is in Ontario, I skipped out, you know, went AWOL, absent without leave. Skipped out of the barracks, climbed over the wall, and went into a little town called Angus. They had a bar there, and I'm all pissed up. Well, unbeknown to me, Charlotte phoned the base that night. You know, to talk to me after supper, and I'm gone. That's how they found out I was missing. Oh, so I got 2 weeks in prison at night, and during the day called extra work and drill. Every day you did 2 hours of what they call 120 cadence, where you're marching, but you're not quite running, but almost. And you do 2 hours of 120 cadence. Then you spend the rest of the day with a machete and a burlap bag, and every crack in the asphalt on the parade square, you got to cut the grass and put it in the burlap bag. And of course, I'm losing my sense of humor pretty fast here. So I'm beating this big machete into the pavement, and a sergeant walked by about 100 yards away, and he gave me shit for beating this knife into the parade, and I lost it. I got up and I took after that son of a bitch with it, and I thought, geez. Then I sat down, I thought, I got to get out of here, I'm going to kill somebody, because I was so hostile. I hated and I punched out one corporal. You don't do that, pimply mouthed son of a bitch beaking off to me, I had no. Anyway, it wasn't good. It was good I got out of there. Yeah, I had the wrong attitude. Well, then come out of there and I'm going to join the Calgary City Police. Thank God God stepped in to stop me, because I was so chippy, so angry. I would have been not a good candidate for police, I'll tell you. Somebody lips me off, I'd have killed the son of a bitches, you know, Well, I went to Calgary. First I worked as a rent-a-cop.
Oh, a security.
Yeah, and the first job was at the bus depot in Calgary. And my job was to put everybody out of the bus depot that didn't have a ticket. Well, that was where the drug dealers did their thing, eh? Shit. First day on the job, I walk in, uniform, and I just walked in the door, I'm looking around, I hear bang, 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 bang on the window of the restaurant. There's a big brawl right inside the restaurant. I wasn't there 5 seconds and I'm in the first fight, you know? Jeez. But luckily I could end it pretty quick. I was muscled up and well trained, and I could go in there and I beat the shit out of the 2 of those guys right away, and the rest of them quit. And because I could go in there and just go bap bap and it's over, you know. Anyway, it was bad. And then I went to work for Vennard and Ellithorpe. It was a company up in Northwest that built plants, and this is when I first started building plants. And we built the plant in Calgary in pieces, trucked it down to Pincher Creek, and then built the plant there. And I ended up foreman building that plant down in Pincher Creek on the sulfur plant. Oh, I had some grand times. Lots of good memories. There I am riding the calf. There's my big dog, Bub. He was a Great Dane.
Oh.
Bub could stand up and he'd wipe the table off when he wagged his tail.
How did you get that dog, Dad?
I don't remember. I might have got him from the same guy I got the horse from. He had 2 horses, and he worked at Conlon's in Rosetown. And he was a drunk or some damn thing. He lost his job. These horses were starving. It's the reason Bob told me about. Bob Green told us about it. So him and I went down there and looked at it, and we bought them. I think $150 a piece or something. So I bought one, and he bought another one. We bring him home. He took his up to the auction sale the next day and got $300. I kept mine. I think I got the dog from the same guy. If you can imagine giving up your dog.
A Great Dane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bub was a wonderful dog. We were living down at Plato. The 2 boys were waddling out towards the main road, and Bub went out there and herded them back. Like, he blocked them from getting out there. Like, he... Yeah, there's Betsy on my horse, Chief, you know, and she don't remember that horse. There she is riding the damn thing.
So we've just had our first full day of filming, and wow, I think Dad is exhausted and I'm a little tired. I'm going to try to get in a little bit of work here before I go see him. So he came at about 9 o'clock this morning, and we've been recording all day, and it's been tricky. Dad's been sad at times. Some of the things are hard for him to remember, and they're painful. But I'm really glad that he's talking about it, and I'm glad that I'll have a record of his life and the things that he wants to share and pass along to us, because it's important. You know, these stories are important, and when Dad is gone, we're not going to have this anymore. And this is important to me. So even if nobody else finds this important, it's important to me. So I'm going to do a little bit of work and have dinner and give Minnie dinner, and she's sleeping. I'm just going to show you her. There she is. Oh, Minnie. She's a great dog. So I'm going to give everyone dinner and have a coffee, and then go have a coffee with Dad, and then come back and go to sleep, and back at her tomorrow.
Yeah, baby, oh, crazy bone. Crazy bone.
I get such a kick out of this guy.
And this was right before he died?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I played this over 100 times. Just the words that this man, like, he's a wordsmith beyond belief, you know. Yeah. when there's hell to pay, put the truth on layaway. Now he did another thing here. Way back in the 40 years ago, called How Lucky Can One Man Be? Let's see if I can find it. Oh no, it's not in this one. It's in this one. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, I'm wrong. It's not in this one. Oh, H I want, right? E, F, G. H is a little further. There it is. Now, this is done when he was young. and he's got a guitar player with him that really knows how to play. I'm envious. Now, John Prine is a beautiful guitar player. I love his style, one finger and one thumb, and I can't copy him. He's unique. But this guy is a real guitar player, right? Sort of like what I dream of being like.
What's that? How everything? I'm not good.
There's John Prine. Yeah, I just love that sound.
Old, eh?
Listen to this. Whoa. I don't know how to do this. Did you know there's going to be stringed instruments in heaven?
I had no idea. Although I did envision some harps.
I envision banjo and guitar, right? And fiddles and mandolins. I want to play with Earl Scruggs. Banjo. This is John Prine picking this time. It's not quite the same lead. Died of COVID. I laughed like hell when I read that. He had cancer twice. He had throat operations. There we go. Listen to this guy. Singing harmony now. Guitar picker. It's about 40 years ago that song was done. Anyway, I just love it. I don't know.
And the brass hood isn't still around.
Yeah, it's called something different now.
Oh, is it that one that's for sale?
For sale?
Yeah, there's a pub on the corner from my hotel that says it's for sale.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's called Pete and Roy's.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one. That's the brass hood.
that was the brass hood.
Before it was the brass hood, it was the York Hotel. It was a beer parlor. Right? I used to drink there. I used to haul the booze there.
Really?
Yeah.
What a great job for you.
It worked for me.
Pay was great.
Yeah. I remember bringing kegs of beer in there, right? And a keg is 149 pounds. And the bartender's name was Augie Ganter. And he's an older guy, and everybody knew him. And Augie was telling us that any man that could lift a keg of beer up over his head and hold it there, he'd give him the keg. I said, "Oh, you mean like this?" And I'd handled so many of them, I knew they were sloppy, eh? Because there are only so much beer in them. So I picks it up, and it goes, and I rolled with it, eh? And I'm holding it up above my head, and Augie's just, what? Well, I was muscled up really good in those days, eh? He wouldn't give me the keg.
He
But
wouldn't?
No, he threw me the bottle opener. He said, just help yourself to it. He just shook his head. He'd never seen that before. About 149 pounds is all it was. Eh? Well, the day that I was telling Tanya about, Dina was living in Bigger at this house that was right beside Hannigan's there, and Candace come down for a visit. And I walked in the room, and I'm wearing a T-shirt. And Candace looks at me and says to her mother, "Holy shit, has he ever ripped?" And I thought it was an insult of some. I didn't ever heard the word what ripped meant, eh? And I thought, you bitch, you know. Well, I had to ask what it meant, eh? Ripped. Geez, that upset me. The co-op store has changed since you had your picture taken.
Oh wow, is it ever? It used to be on some kind of a main street of some kind.
Well, this is it.
This is it now?
Yeah, this is Main Street.
Is this where it always was?
Yeah.
Oh, it used to be up close to the edge of the sidewalk.
Yeah, probably.
Did my mom ever live in Rosetown?
Well, of course, that's where I met her.
Do you remember where she lived?
Yes, I do. You want to go have a look?
Sure.
See if I remember it. We'll have to go back the other direction here at some
Sure.
point.
I'll turn around. Do you need the air conditioning on, Dad?
No, it's good. Let's see, is it first or second she was on? I forget.
Oh, there's Charlotte's shop.
Yep. So Tanya tells me that it's actually Sarah's shop. And that it's up for sale now because she wants to stay home. She lives quite a long way south, eh?
Oh, yeah?
Turn left at the next corner. Yeah, she worked at the hospital here when I met her, eh? Hello?
Yeah, it wasn't an old folks home, Dad. It was like an actual hospital.
Yeah.
Oh.
Billy Asshole Simpson.
You know that guy?
Yeah. Oh no, that's the Jackson house there. No, I'm not sure if this one. I think it was.
This one on the corner?
Yeah. There used to be a window right where that brown border is at the bottom, and they had rented the basement. And that's the window I snuck in that night.
Is that right?
Well, then my buddy Rick Jackson and his wife bought that when they first got married and lived there for a long time.
Wow, that's quite the garage.
Yeah. Wheatland Regional. Oh, that's where the comedy college is. I didn't know that. Where they work is over the other side of town. I guess they must have put themselves up a big office so they can spend taxpayers' money more.
Of course.
Why is he stopping for you?
I don't know.
Ray Charles. I was going to go hunting with him one day.
With Ray Charles?
Yeah. Look, watch this guy.
It's okay, buddy. I'm watching you.
Oh, you can go. You can go. Oh. We should go up to where Charlotte is, or where Tanya is in Elaine.
Oh, yeah. And go say hi?
Yeah. Go up to 6th Avenue and hang a left.
Do.
This is 4th. This is 6th. So it goes right from 4th to 6th because 5th is on an angle.
Oh.
You missed it. get close to Main Street, we're going to take a tour down the back alley.
Okay.
There's Fifth Avenue there on the angle.
We don't go here though?
No.
Just go straight?
Yeah.
How many people live in Rosetown, Dad? Do you know?
It's just around 3,000.
That's pretty
A
big.
little less. Well,
It's bigger than Bruderheim.
It hasn't stayed. It hasn't changed much. It's a retired farmer's town, you might as well call it, you know. That's why they maintain pretty steady, you know, the population. See where that truck's turning?
Yep.
Well, just before that, there's an alley. We'll turn to the right.
Gotcha. To the right.
Yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elaine and Bob are separating, or did I tell you that?
Elaine and Bob.
Nichols.
Oh.
So she bought this house, and so Tanya offered to help her. There's Tanya's red van.
Oh.
You got room to squeeze in there? Yeah, you do. Easy. Easy peasy. There's Elaine's van. Anyway, the cute part was, I was last in this house 60 years ago. When I was 10 years old, I used to stay in. I'll shut the radio off.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I used to stay in from school to go to Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts on Tuesday night.
Uh-huh. And
the guys, my friend's name was Tommy Wilson, and this is Mom and Dad owned this place. So I used to come here for supper Tuesday nights, 1959. So he bought this house, and she's redoing it.
Cool.
Well, Tanya's doing 90% of it. When you're ready for go.
Yep, I'm ready, Dad.
Well, I was a real athlete as a young guy, championship athlete, and I never smoked all my young years. And I was learning guitar. I was 15, and my sister Betty used to come out in the back room. I'd sit on my bunk bed and play, and she'd sing while I'm trying to figure out chords. And you know, we didn't have internet or didn't know how to do anything, and I'm trying to learn. And she'd roll a cigarette, and she'd say, "Do you want to drag?" I said, "No, no." And the days go on, and one day she said, "Do you want to drag?" Well, okay. Took this drag. You know. Well, it wasn't within 2 days we get out there, and I said, "Betty, can I have a drag off your cigarette?" I was hooked right now. Just like the addiction was instantaneous pretty well. And that was at 15. And I smoked right till age 69. So like it's an awful long time of smoke. And over those years, I hated it because I was an athlete and I didn't like smoking, but I couldn't quit. I remember I was 18. Cigarettes were, well, when I was younger, they were about 25 cents a pack, and they were going up. It was about 40 cents, and I said, cigarettes ever hit 50 cents a pack, I'm all done. Remember, I was at the Dog and Sons drive-in in Rosetown there, and cigarettes hit 50 cents. So I quit for an hour to teach the tobacco companies a lesson, you know, and I couldn't stay quit. Back to smoking. I said, well, cigarettes ever hit $1 a pack, I'm all finished. Them rotten bastards. Cigarettes hit $1. I quit for an hour to teach them a lesson, and then I'm back smoking again. And every time I tried, it was painful. The withdrawal was just horrible. I couldn't get through it. One time we were going up north. Bob Nichols and I and Ken Auckland, we were going on some project, and I decided I'm going to quit this weekend, not taking any cigarettes. I'm stuck out in the bush 3 days, and I am dying, absolutely dying from no cigarettes. So we were driving back, and the first damn service station we came to, I went in and got a pack of cigarettes because I won't make it home. I'm dead. The pain was so intense. So I knew all the times I tried to quit smoking and nothing ever worked. Right?
How come, did you ever try Smokers Anonymous?
Never heard of it. Anyway, so here I was, 69 years old. My son Ben come along with this book because he quit. And he come along with this book called Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr. And I thought, yeah, right. You know, so I just threw it in the pile there and ignored. But meanwhile, I was having a lot of trouble. I was getting to, at night especially, I'd cough at night when I tried to sleep, and I knew it was getting bad. Lungs hurting, and so one day I picks up that book and started reading it. Holy shit. I'd never run across this type of thought processes before, about how we brainwashed ourselves over the years to think a certain way about cigarettes. I'd smoked over 50 years, you know. You're training your brain to think a certain way. Well, that book retrains your brain, if you want, to think in a different way, to think what cigarettes actually are, not what the misconceptions that you've brainwashed yourself into believing. Well, I got right near the end of the book, I said to Tanya, this is a head game. I can do this. And I never had another cigarette. And it was easy as pie, didn't have any withdrawal symptoms and nothing. And of course I knew God had stepped in and helped give me a help, because before nothing worked. So I was so impressed. Well, then Ben started smoking again. And his wife, who was a little older than him, 10 years older, she coughs at night, smoking. Hey, geez, why don't you read the book? You know, my sister Betty wanted to know about it, so I gave her a copy of the book. She saw the word brainwashed in there, and she's mad right now. No way, I'm brainwashed. That book's no good. You know. Yeah.
And how did you feel when you quit smoking physically, Dad?
How did she feel?
How did you feel?
Oh, terrible. I was sick, and I've been sick ever since. Never had a moment's peace since I quit smoking. You know, people tell you you're going to feel better. No way. I started put on weight. I put on 50 pounds or 60 pounds of weight right away, and feel horrible. I can't walk to the garden. I run out of breath. What the hell's going on? I had no idea.
Do you wish you would have stayed smoking?
Well, I knew I couldn't do that, though, because the pain was too bad. I was dying. But yeah, if I could have cut back, which I can't do, you know, to 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, it might have stretched it out, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it was just terrible. But anyway, I love how that book did things. I had never seen it like that before. They tell you about things like the patch and all these different smoking chemicals and shit. He explains why none of them will work. Okay? And of course, I tried a whole bunch of them, and never had any success with that either. Some people get hypnotized. Who did they talk to? Robbie? I think Robbie or Betty or somebody went and got hypnotized. Well, it didn't last long, you know, but I don't know. When my Savior calls, I will answer. When he calls to me, I will hear. When my Savior calls, I will answer. I'll be somewhere, listen for my name. I'll be somewhere, listen, I'll be somewhere, listen, I'll be